Recently, I bought a 2004 Honda TRX 450R for 500 bucks. This thing is an absolute basket case, and it's been left in pieces. We gave it a good clean job, and it was starting to look promising that maybe this quad didn't have that many hours on it, and we might have got lucky. But unfortunately, we tore down the engine, and we found some serious carnage.
Oh my gosh, does that stink?
It looks like this engine was run with no oil in it, and the bottom end was completely roached. That's no problem though, we're here to restore this thing, and I was expecting to find problems anyways. We also tore down the roller to the bare frame. We also strengthened up the frame by welding in a gusset kit and repaired some of the stuff that we found wrong with it before sending everything out for powder coat. We also got a ton of brand new parts for this thing, designed custom graphics for it, and had all of the original hardware re-zinc coated to look brand spanking new. In this episode, we get all of the powder coated parts back and check out the beautiful frame. We'll be doing pre-work, making sure that the frame is ready to rock and roll and getting everything into place so that when build day gets here, everything will go together nice and smoothly. We're also going to take a look at our custom graphics that came in, and we're going to take an old, dull, dingy quad tech hood and completely restore it and add a custom touch to make it match the 250R that we built a few years ago. All right, guys, let's take a look at these freshly powder coated parts. Guys, you got to see this frame. This thing looks absolutely beautiful. I'm hoping that this comes up and you can actually see this color. I mean, my gosh, it's so beautiful in the sunlight. It almost has like an orange pearlescence to it. It's red, but it's like you just got to see it in person. So I'm going to take as many close shots as I can, and I'm hoping that the camera picks it up. It's got like a little bit of a metal flake in it as well, both of them. If you come back to the gray, you can see there's a metal flake in that, and then there's a metal flake in the red also. It looks amazing. When the sun comes out, man, it just looks so good. This is done by Bonehead Performance. I'm always bragging about them. They do excellent work. I love that they do this. Let's see if we can get this camera to focus here. They will mark off where your VIN is, and this is clear coated, so it's not going to rust. But they mark it off. They blast it, then they mask it off so that the powder coat. If you've ever had something powder coated over a VIN number, it's so thick that a lot of times you can't even read the VIN number. So they do that, and then there's a clear coat over top of that. So that's protected, and you can actually read it. Love that they do that. They mask off all the areas, like if you guys can see in here for the steering stem. They know what they're doing over there, like if you come down here where the swing arm bolt goes, stuff like that. And excellent, excellent work. These guys do such a good job, man. I will have both of the colors on the screen for what these are. A lot of people ask what colors I use and everything, and you know, they're trying to do like a similar build. And then down here, you guys saw in the last video, the A-arms were already done. That's in the same charcoal that the subframe is. And then these heel guards, these DBR heel guards, which I absolutely love. These have that, they're that same red, and then this is a texture black. I don't know if you guys can see, but there's a little bit of a grippiness to it. I like to get that. That's done by Bonehead Performance also. Both of these colors are. And it just adds a little bit of grip and durability. And then I did the Unicam cover in the same color. So when the engine's built, it should drop in there and it'll match really nice. It's gonna look really, really good. Let's just see what this looks like mocked up over here. I mean, it's kind of hard to hold this and do it, but this is a really difficult part of a project for me because I have to do everything very particular for the video series. But if it were me, man, I'd be putting the A-arms on, putting the heel guards on, and just start assembling stuff because it's just really fun and it's exciting. But I know you guys like when I put everything out on the driveway, we lay out, you know, all the parts individually in an exploded view, and we gotta, in order to do it that way, we have to have everything here first. So I have to be patient. It's very difficult though. You guys can see the DBR gusset kit. Now that the powder coat's on there, I mean, I think a lot of people wouldn't even notice that this stuff is here. I think it came out really, really nicely. You can see the welds on the inside too. I don't know if it's, this camera's, it's a little bit dark. We're actually, I think a storm is coming in, so we'll have to get this thing inside. But here's gussets up front right here, and then the one up here, this one right here. And then if we come over here, this was our nice big one that we had to contour so that you could fit the Kickstarter in there. Man, it just looks really, really good. So we're still waiting on the cylinder head and the cylinder, as well as our steering stem. And I think a couple other odds and ends. We have the OEM Honda crank is still in the mail, and probably just some other odds and ends. And unfortunately, this is going to be one of the last videos that I make for a few weeks, at least in terms of the 450R, I unfortunately discovered that I have a torn ACL. Without getting into too much detail about that, I basically had an accident back in December, and I thought things were getting better, and things just started to get worse. Got an MRI, and sure enough, the ACL is torn. So I can still get around and do my normal stuff for the most part, but unfortunately, I do have surgery coming in less than a week from now. So I'm going to be down for a little bit. I do have videos that will be coming out for you guys, but I just wanted to let you guys know that. So I figured before that happens, we'll get as much pre-work as we can done since we can't actually start the build. And one of the first things that I want to do is we're going to call it bolt hanging. We're gonna hang all the bolts and hardware and get all the grommets and stuff in the frame, because believe it or not, that's actually a pretty tall task. One thing it definitely is, though, is time consuming. So the first thing I want to do is go over all of our threads on this frame. So when you get something powder coated, they blast it with sand, and that can roughen up where like your threaded surfaces and whatnot. And it can also leave little grits of sand and stuff. You know, no matter how much they blow these things off and try to clean them, there's always stuff that's left behind. Now, depending who does your powder coating, they're probably going to mask off all of your threaded holes. So you can see we got bare metal in here. What they do is they put plugs in here, or they'll mask it somehow, and that way you don't get a bunch of powder coat in there and you got to strip all that shit out. So you can see they did these holes here, but the sandblasting is going to get in there. And like I said, that's going to make things rough. So there's one of two ways that you can do this. This is what's called a thread chase. And this is actually the way that, you know, people are going to tell you to do it, and it is a way to do it. I've just found that these don't work as effectively as using an actual thread tap. I've had guys yell at me in the comments for not using these thread chases. So a thread tap is made for cutting new threads. So it's not just made for cleaning them up like the chase is. And that's why people are like, oh, you really shouldn't use the tap, because you're not just cleaning the threads, you could be cutting new threads. And that's true. But if you've got a good quality tap and you go nice and carefully, you're not really going to cut any new threads, and it just tends to do, in my opinion, it tends to do a better job than these thread chases. That's just my opinion. You guys don't have to do it my way. Now, once you've decided, I think we got to bend this tab down a little bit, but that's okay. We'll get that later. Once you decide which method you want to do, then you got to decide if you want to do it by hand, which I do recommend, or you can use the power drill. The power drill, though, is just more dangerous. So we're just going to go on in here. You want to make sure that your bit is nice and straight, and just get it started. You don't want it cutting threads. That's the big thing. You just want it gliding through. It should go through fairly easy. It might not be super easy, though, because there could be a bunch of sand from the sandblaster all caked up in there. But the fact that I can do this by hand tells me we're okay. I don't even have the extension on there. Sometimes the threads are messed up as they were, too. So just because it got blasted and stuff doesn't mean that the blasting is what ruined the threads. But we're through now. And then just run it back out. And you can see there's some gunk on there. The threads look nice and clean. And this is not the bolt that goes here, but we'll just test it and make sure that it's nice and smooth. There we go, much better. Now I can sleep at night. Now we're gonna do the dangerous method. Definitely, I really don't recommend using this, even though I do it. I don't always do it too. Sometimes I'll do the hand one until I get really tired and frustrated, and then I'm like, screw it. But when you use power tools, you just run the risk of going a little bit crooked. You know, when you're doing it with your hand, you feel the resistance and you stop. The power tool is just going to blast through, even if it's crooked. So just keep that in mind. You do want to keep the tap clean too. It's going to be picking up debris and little pieces of powder coat and stuff. So it's good to do that. And we'll just line this up. Now see, this is not a good one to do because this tab right here. So I'm gonna come up here and do this one. Now again, you wanna make sure this is good and straight, and just gently let it run through. So you could see the resistance there. I've got a good feel for this shit. You can see how clean those came out, and I'm sure that they're good even with that little bit of resistance, but that's just because I know the feel of my drill and with the kind of resistance that I'm looking for. Again, guys, do that method at your own risk. But, you know, I know that, you know, telling people to do things the right way doesn't mean they're going to do things the right way, so I show it the other ways too. All right, all of our holes are bored out. We're just gonna leave it at that. But they're all good and cleaned up. Went in here, did the peg holes and everything. They're all good to go. So now we have to do the arduous task of taking all of our freshly zinced hardware and matching it up into all of the proper bolt holes. And then over here, we've got a whole bag from Partzilla. This is all OEM hardware. And the yeah, it's going to be really time consuming. We're going to start with one of the easy ones. We'll take our swing arm bolt. This is the original swing arm bolt. We got some fresh black zinc coating on there. And we'll just go ahead and slide this bad boy in there. You know, that's an easy one. Now for finding out where the rest of the bolts go, I've got a pretty good method here. We're here on partzilla.com, and I'm in the OEM section. We're under the 2004 Honda TRX 450R. That's our quad. And we're just going to come down here, and I'm going to show you an example. We're going to go to the front arm. That's going to be the A-arms. And we'll go right here, and you can see they've got a little schematic. And we can zoom in, and let's see here. So the A-arm right here is number 8. And if we go over here, they have number 8. It says bolt flange 10 by 62. So it's an M10 by 62 millimeters. So this is the bolt right here. I already know it's the bolt, but how I check this is with a pair of calipers. And we're just going to measure the length of this bolt. And you can see it is 62 millimeters. So this is the proper bolt right here. Now for the nut, it is number 9. And to make sure, I was looking in the bolt bag and you can see there's different types of nuts in there. Check out my nuts. And we want to make sure that we're putting the right one on there. So on Partzilla, if you click on the part number, they're typically going to have an actual picture. Oh, that was number 8. That was, let's go back. We want number 9. Let's click this one, and you'll see that they have an actual picture of the OEM part. Now it says OEM Honda nut, and you can see the markings on the top of this nut. And if you look here, this is the one. It's got those same markings. This other one is flat on the top. So we want to make sure that we're using the correct nut. So we'll just slide this Uh-oh. I'm actually glad this happened because this is another thing that happens with powder coating. All right, so as you can see, for once, we're too big for the hole. Can you believe that? Yeah, neither can I. Anyways, we've got this little part here, a little tool, a little angle job. This is actually one of my porting tools. It works great for doing this stuff. Because it's so tiny, you can get into little areas and stuff. Some of these holes that we're going to be boring out, we don't actually need the tiny tool, but it does the job for everything. So I will have this linked in the description below. It's only like 45 bucks on Amazon. Excellent, excellent tool. And then I've got a small burr tool in the front here. You can use one of the sanding jobs or like a diamond bit too. They're a little less aggressive. These ones are going to do the job quicker, but they are more aggressive. So you have to be kind of careful with them. Realistically, you know, with steel, you don't have to worry about it too badly. But anyways, yeah, so we're just going to take this, and on the bottom, there's a little dial, and I'm going to twist this, and that's going to get this thing going. And just kind of go in there, and it's going to clean up the powder coat. You don't have to do a lot. Boom. Oh, a little bit more. We get the threads through, but there we go. So this side's good. Just got to get the other side. There we go. We'll come on in here with our and that one's all set up. And as I'm populating these bolt holes, I'm going to be putting stuff in place like our motor mounts and just little stuff like that. So again, when it comes time to assembly, we're not searching all over for these parts or wondering which side the things go on. Figure that all out now. And I gotta say, these bronze motor mounts and the black zinc hardware, it is looking nice. Put our upper engine hanger in place. Dude, look at that black zinc, man. That looks so good. And we got our engine spacers, vapor blasted. They basically look like brand new. Just getting all this stuff in place. And this nut on this end was actually missing. So this is where that spec bolt is gonna come in this is where that spec bolt kit is gonna come in handy for random hardware that's missing, so I don't have to stop and wait a few days, you know, ordering all the miscellaneous hardware that was missing. For anybody that's hopping into this project late, this was a basket case, so there was a lot of stuff that's missing, and we don't even know it. I also want to put stuff like our steering stem clamp on. This is that nice CNC one. It is, this thing, let me tell you, it is solid as a f***ing rock. This thing is heavy as shit. Let me get the stock one. The stock one is definitely lighter. It's steel, and believe it or not, the reason I got this re-zinc coated, I had to, these brackets were broken off and stuff. I had to re-weld them on and stuff. But this is, believe it or not, this part's $150, brand new, OEM from Partzilla. That's just the going rate for these things. I guess they don't make them anymore. Anyways, the block from Nice CNC, it's got all of the stuff. Like you can see this threaded nut right here. I think like a hose or something clamps on there. They've got a threaded thing on the side there. It also has this thing that goes like so, and that's like your cable router. So it goes on here, and you can route your cables and stuff on there. So, I mean, it's nice. It's just super, super heavy. So if you were doing like a drag racing build or something, I probably wouldn't choose this. Realistically though, the difference in weight is probably like 2 ounces or something. So like for a normal person, or even somebody doing like a racing thing, like cross country stuff, this is definitely rock solid. I don't know that the other one would ever break, but just something to keep in mind if you're going for lightweight. Probably wouldn't choose this one, but otherwise very, very nice looking piece. It comes with Allen head hardware, but I'm actually a fan of using the OEM style hardware. So I'm gonna use bolts from the spec bolt kit. I also want to make sure that certain things fit, like our bumper, there's a gap in between the top and bottom. And sometimes the powder coat's a little too thick and stuff like this won't fit on. This looks like we've actually got some room to spare. So probably when you pull the bolts in, it actually pulls the bumper in. And I'm like, you know what? We might as well just hang the bumper while it's here because, well, for one, it looks freaking awesome. We're gonna leave it loose. We'll take all this stuff off when we do our breakdown and lay all the parts out, but it's gonna look really cool. Dude, you gotta love these. These Duncan bumpers just look so good. I'm also gonna put any rubber grommets and stuff in place. There's a lot of them on this frame. Gotta take these bolts out real quick. And then these are the original rubbers. So I have a little bit of, I use dielectric just to, it kind of gives it a little bit of lubrication and helps preserve the rubber. These slide over the subframe, and there's a little bump in the bottom. It like plugs in, but it's just a cover for that bolt. We've also got these little cable routing clips. They go right on these tiny little studs on the frame, like that. One last thing I want to do is put our lower steering stem in. I've got a kit from PivotWorks. Comes with the lower bearing, the upper and lower seal, as well as the lower collar, and it also has the rubber seal for your upper steering stem. It's the kit comes with everything for your steering stem. Now you can see they did mask this area off, which is great, but it's slightly textured just from some of the sandblasting. So what I like to do is come in with one of these little Scotch wheels on a Dremel, and this isn't gonna really take material out, it's just gonna smooth it, and that's gonna make putting the bearing and seal in a little bit nicer. It doesn't take much. This just smooths out any roughness from the blasting. Oh yeah, much better. And I think this bearing goes in pretty easily. Got a socket that's just a little bit smaller. Get that lined up. We should be able to come in here and drive her home. using these extensions make doing this a breeze. Really, you should have the frame on like a more solid surface because the stand is kind of moving around a little bit. So when you're hitting this, a lot of the energy is just transferring to moving the whole damn thing. But luckily, this one doesn't have like super tight tolerances, so it's not that tough to get in there. I think we're there. And then there's a little groove in here for a snap ring. This is actually the original snap ring. I had this zinc coated at Moto Blast. Make sure that's clipped in all the way around, looks good. We've got the upper seal, and I do put grease on the inner lip of these. I'm not gonna do it right now though, because this frame's probably gonna be sitting for a while while we're waiting for the steering stem, and that'll just be collecting dust and stuff. But I also like to put a little bit of grease on the outside before I put it in. So these pivot work kits, they come with their own grease. I'm just gonna put a small amount on the outside. You don't need much. And just give it a little bit of lubrication on the outside. This one looks like it's gonna just push in with my thumbs. Okay. Then on the underside, you've got another seal. And same thing, I just put a little bit of grease on the outer lip and just press it in place. Then you can see, it comes with the lower spacer also, but we're gonna set that aside for now until the steering stem gets here, and we'll put the upper bushing in place also, just so we know where everything is when it comes time for install. Powersports Nation and Partzilla are both sponsors of the channel, and it's where I get most of my parts from. Partzilla.com is my go-to source for OEM parts. They've got online schematics that make finding the part you need easy. They've also got you covered when it comes to gear like helmets and boots, any kind of oils and lubricants that your machine might need. Partzilla has quick shipping, and all orders over $150 ship for free. Now, if I'm looking for parts for a side-by-side like this Can-Am, or for a utility ATV like a Sportsman, my go-to spot is going to be PowersportsNation.com. If you don't see what you're looking for on the PowersportsNation.com website, make sure to call in and let them know, because they're constantly getting new parts in every week, and they just might have what you need. All parts come with a warranty, and every order ships for free. I've been using Partzilla.com and Powersports Nation for years, and I'm comfortable recommending them to you guys. If you're looking for a way to support me, the best way to do that is by using the companies that support what I do. Links to PowersportsNation.com and Partzilla.com will be in the description below, as well as any other companies that are helping out with this 450R project. All right, let's get back to the video. All right, man, frame prep is done. All this stuff, it took a while. I'll be honest with you, it took like, I would say about 6 hours to get this where it is. There's a lot of work finding every single one of these little bolts and bushings and everything, and making sure it goes in the right area. Got the seat latch and stuff on there. It just takes a lot of time if you want to do everything right. Maybe it didn't take 6 hours, but it probably maybe 4 hours. You know, if I did it again right now, I could probably do it much quicker, just because I know where everything goes. But when you're looking everything up, man, it just takes a while. We got the little plastic radiator fin in there. And in doing this, again, this was a basket case. I discovered a bunch of stuff that were missing. In fact, I made a list here for Partzilla, and you can see there's a whole bunch of stuff, including the freaking oil cooler. Where the hell is it? Oil cooler, right here. There's an oil cooler that goes up here. And I didn't even realize it was missing, but sure enough it is. That's the whole point of doing all this pre-work though, because when it comes to build day, the last thing we want to be doing is putting stuff together and you find one little stinking piece that's missing and it stops the whole project, because these four-wheelers and stuff, the sport quads, they're becoming pretty rare, and it's not like a car or something where you can just go to AutoZone and get the part that you need and then continue the project on. You got to stop and you got to wait for the stuff to come in the mail and all. So that's the whole point of this. I also put some other stuff together, like the swing arm, got our TM design, chain slider, and chain roller. I might not be able to run this chain roller with the skid plate I just figured out, but I'll figure that stuff out later. And then like I put the disc on the disc hub for the back, just little stuff like that. And there is still more to do. I've got to build the A-arms, the front hubs and stuff like that. Front fenders, I put together the little brackets and everything like that. Believe it or not, these are the original brackets. I did not get those re-zinc coated. I put them in the ultrasonic cleaner and look how good they look. Basically look like brand new. This is our radiator. I spent about an hour and a half, oh shit, well, whatever, straightening all the fins out. You can see they're not perfect, but it looks really, really nice. And this was vapor blasted by James at Moto Blast. And I got the little plastic flapper deal in place right there. Again, just getting everything in place so I'm not searching for stuff. And now it's time to turn our attention, or turn our anger really, to this freaking hood. So this ugly thing right here, this thing here, you wanna know what this is? I'll tell you what it is. This is an old Quadtech, well, it might not be old because I actually looked on the Quadtech website and they still offer these freaking things. You guys have to let me know if this is like an old style or what. It's not carbon fiber, it's plastic. And somebody must have got spray paint happy, and it looks like it's got spray paint on it. So I'm hoping that we can strip the spray paint off, get this ugly ass yellow on the vents. And my goal is, if you guys remember Project 250R, the M309R Patriot, this is supposed to be the M480R Dark Patriot. So I want this to resemble the 250R, and we had taken a 4Works hood and gotten rid of the design that they had on the front. Well, we didn't get rid of it, but we modified it. And I wanted to modify this in the same way, again, so that this can be a complementary build to the 250R. So let's see what we can do with this thing. Just look at the freaking nostrils on this damn thing. I never really liked this design. They do it on Quadtech and they do it on 4Works. I just never really, I was never the biggest fan, but they look like little Allen heads. And you can see somebody did a really good job tightening those. This did not come with the 450R. There actually was no hood and there was no headlight that came with this. And a lot of people were upset that I was even considering running the headlight. So I'm sure there's going to be some people that are happy that were running this. But anyways, I was at my buddy's house, Matt from Garage MC, and this was like sitting up on a hood, or on a shelf. And he's like, dude, that thing, you can frickin' have it. He's like, that thing looks like crap. It came with some 450R that he wanted to part out. And I was like, I got to give you something for it, man. So I gave him 50 bucks. New, I think these are like 125. But once you pay shipping and all that bullshit, it's probably like 150 bucks. So was it really worth saving $50 or $100? I don't know. But doesn't really matter. And there's a second one. All right, so there she is. I've got some good resellable hardware there. Just gonna take this stuff right here and put it in a nice little container, and you know, make sure that it all stays together, because this is good stuff. Yeah, and we'll just put that in there like so. And this will go on eBay. Somebody will buy this stuff. I would say this is a good. I don't know. That hardware is kind of rare, and somebody painted it, so it's going to last. It's not going to rust or anything. This is about probably $29.95 plus shipping. Yep, no warranty. All right, we're going to try this premium sprayable stripper. This isn't the stripper that I normally use. Usually I use the aircraft grade one, but the hardware store didn't have it. It looks like a gelatin though. You can see that the orange stuff in here, that's actually some remnants of the aircraft grade stripper I had. I think it's just, it was so old, it like discolored, and I think it just went bad. So we'll try this stuff out. Hopefully it works. Basically, we'll just take a disposable paintbrush here and paint it on. And you can see I washed this. I got the dirt and stuff off because it smells like the aircraft grade stripper. Oh yeah, it freaking stinks, dude. But yeah, you can see I cleaned it off. You want so that the stripper gets right to the paint. Just doesn't have to like cut through the dirt and stuff. Yep, you can see it. It's already starting to bubble up. This stuff is awesome for stripping spray paint and stuff. If it works like the aircraft grade stuff, which, I mean, like I said, it smells like it. Maybe it's not quite as aggressive, but we're talking spray paint here, so. Yeah, you can see that stuff is really starting to wrinkle up. You know, I was in the hardware store looking, and they didn't have the one that I typically use. And I was reading the label on some of these, and it said, the one said, no harmful odor. And, you know, when they say stuff like that, chances are it probably doesn't work very well. I like the ones that when you open up the can, it feels like someone took Frank's Red Hot and just sprayed it right in your eyes. Those are the ones that they're probably going to work. All right, we'll let that sit for about 15 or 20 minutes. All right, it's been about 20 minutes, and you can see this shit is working, especially over here, man. Look at that paint. It's just like completely bubbled up. I got the gloves on, man, because this stuff it's freaking vile. But you can see it just peels right off. I'm actually I think I'm gonna take this outside because this can get really messy. And the yellow grill, I'm sure this stuff will come right off too. Might need a couple coats. Well, guys, I will scrape the rest of this away and we'll see what it looks like. Look at all this freaking paint, dude. That is all paint. Just peeling right off. This stuff, I'm telling you, without these chemicals, man, freaking nightmare job. Well, this came out really nice. All the paint came off pretty easily, just a messy job. And I guess originally it was kind of this textured finish. And you can see it's got like some scuffs and stuff on it. And then look at the grates, the metal grills. These are, they look like they're stainless steel. They came out really, really clean. Pretty surprised, honestly. I didn't think they'd, you know, come out this nice. Put these here and show you guys what it would look like. I mean, you talk about major difference from what it looked like with all that crappy paint on there. Now, I might sand and polish this, but that's gonna be a pretty big job because, you know, just sanding out all of the texture in this and then making it really, really smooth it's actually a lot of work with plastic, and depending on the plastic, sometimes it can be really bad. So for now, I'm just gonna put some gloss coat on it just to clean it up. It'll still have the texture look, but the little imperfections and stuff kind of get hidden when you put the gloss coat on there. That stuff, it's basically like an SC1. And right now I just want to focus on making the grill so this will at least look decent. So the next thing we need to do is take our little grills here and cut out the little plus signs, and then we'll take this mesh. It's the same mesh that we used for the 250R grill. This was a grill. I bought this mesh and I made a custom grill for, I had a Buick Regal GS. It was actually a pretty cool car. Anyways, we got the same mesh here, so it'll match nicely. It's just gonna be a little bit different because instead of this just the one big grill, we've got two mini ones. So it might be a little bit more of a challenge to make this work, but I think we can make it, we can do it. I'm gonna try to do this as clean as possible. I've got it in the soft jaws here, and we're gonna go ahead and use this little Dremel cutoff wheel. It's super thin. This stuff is great. Stainless steel doesn't, if this is, I'm pretty sure this is stainless, it doesn't always cut so easy, but these things are great. It should be okay. And don't worry, guys, I got my safety specs on. Don't worry about me. We're doing it from the back side, so if it jumps or anything, we hopefully won't screw up the finish. This is the front over here. Oh, we're too fast. All right, one down, 3 to go. I think it'll bend off now. All right, looks pretty good.
And now I should be able to come in with a file and clean up our cut lines.
All right, there it is. Definitely a good clean look, but it's looking a little bit empty in there, and that's when the mesh is going to come in. I think we've got enough material down at the bottom here. I want to try to make both of the grills even, and I want to run this way, not, we could do it this way too, but the 250R has it running this way, so we're going to keep that consistent. Right about there looks pretty good. Take our paint pen and mark it up. All right, here are the mesh pieces. We'll be able to get that paint pen off at the end, but first let's mock fit them, make sure that they're gonna fit in here. I think we should be good, and we'll put bolts right through and put washers on the back with some nuts, and that should hold it in place. See what it looks like from this side, and once we put those borders on there, that's gonna look really nice. So I've got a whole assortment of M4s here, and they're nice stainless steel hex heads. These holes are just a little bit too small. You should definitely do this in a vise. I'm just being impatient. It barely needs anything, I think. Yep, perfect. All right, let's see if we can get this mocked up. Get our bolts in here. And we should be able to put this grill mesh on the back, and with some washers and nuts, we should be able to hold this in place, no problem. Might need some longer hardware. We'll put washers on this side. I wish I had bigger washers. Okay, they're all good. This one, it's just a little bit far away for the tiny little washers. So let me see if I can get a bigger washer, and then we should be good there too. All right, I found some washers that would do the trick, and I have it on there. You can see it kind of goes on an angle, but it holds it down nice and tight, and it's flush against the plastic, and it looks good, man. Nice and solid. That's not going to go anywhere. I will put Loctite on all of these nuts because those will probably vibrate loose, but that looks really, really good. So all of the cutting and everything is done. Now we just got to coat these black, and I think it's going to look really nice. So I'm going to coat these with some flat black spray paint. We'll take some Scotch-Brite and scuff up the surface so that our paint has something to bind to. It actually looks really nice like that. If I wasn't going for the blacked out looking theme, I would just leave it since this is stainless. All right, I'm gonna wash these real good with soap. This is just awesome degreaser. Make sure that we have all the contaminants and stuff off of these. And rinse them off real good. One last thing I want to do is take some lacquer thinner and wipe all of our surfaces. Lacquer thinner is a great cleaner and prepares the metal for paint really nicely. Then we can take that same lacquer thinner and use it on the plastic to cut the paint pen. Get that right off of there. Then I'll give it 4 coats of Satin Canyon Black. This has got primer and paint in it. Stuff is pretty good. And it's really humid out today, so in between coats, I'll be bringing this inside. So while those are drying, I want to show you guys the graphics. These things are really awesome, and we got them extra special this time. If you have a close look at these things, you'll notice they have a texture to them. This one has like the 3D cube design. If you come over to this one, it's very grippy and super durable. Durable feeling anyways. I haven't used these ones yet. And I do have them in regular gloss as well, but I wanted to show you these ones because these are new textures that Graphics Producer is offering. So Graphics Producer is the company that prints my graphics, and I just think it's really awesome that they give different options for the texture of the graphics. Graphics producer sent me 3 different sets. The one with the cube design, the one with the grippy texture, and then the gloss one, which I don't have up here. And what I'm thinking of doing is using the gloss graphics for most of the bike. And then in certain areas like the tank, I think I'm going to use the grippy one, because the tank is where your knees grab, you know, where having some grippy texture would actually help you out. So I think that might be kind of cool. The only thing I don't like about it is that it's not, the graphics are not as visible, if that makes any sense. You guys will probably see in the camera, like I think because it has a lot of reflective surfaces and different angles, the graphics don't, they're not quite as, like the letters are not as legible and stuff, but it's definitely super unique. So I'm thinking about doing that, and then maybe on the R, have that one have texture. I'm not 100% sure. Any way that you look at it, it's super cool that they offer it this way. If you guys are looking to have any custom graphics done, the company is Graphics Producer. I've been working with them for a couple of years now. I love working with them. Graphics Producer, they can design them for you and they can print them for you. Or if you go on their website, they've got a ton of different pre-made graphics options already up there. All right, guys, pieces are good and dry. Let's get these things in place and see what it looks like. Well, this came out better than expected. I didn't think it was going to come out bad or anything, but it looks really, really cool, man. Man, if you can just imagine how good this is going to look, it's going to be freaking awesome. I'm actually really happy with the way that this turned out. You know, the way that it was before, it was in pretty sorry condition, and I didn't know what we were going to be contending with. I kind of like the matte finish. The little imperfections, I don't know if I can deal with that. So I'm not exactly sure how I will repair this, but I'm going to look into that. For now, though, you guys get the idea. Looks pretty freaking awesome. It will definitely match the 250R, if you guys remember what that quad looks like. And I do still have the 250R. I get people asking questions and stuff. Oh, where's the 250R? Oh, but still got the 250R. It should look awesome right next to it. It's getting very, very exciting. Unfortunately, this will probably be the last 450R video, at least for a short period of time. I had my ACL surgery coming up here. I'm going to show you guys the OMF wheels. They're not here yet. They're in the mail. We're so close, man. I have a picture. I'm going to put a picture up. I'm sure that the picture does not do it justice. When we get the Maxxis Razor tires on there, man, these are some beautiful, beautiful beadlocks. I can't wait till they get here. I can't wait to share that with you guys. We've got the big bore kit is still on back order. The cylinder head is still at OCP. What else do we have to wait for? The crank we still need. We still need a seat cover. I've got a custom seat cover with a bump in the back, a bump seat cover. That's from Jet Trim. There was a pretty long lead time on that. The steering stem from LSR, still waiting on that. It's been like 2 freaking months. And just some other odds and ends, but it's just been a waiting game, and it's just the way that it goes. So even though I have surgery in a couple days, I've got some computer work that I've been piling up, so I do have some videos to be putting out for you guys. And I will see you guys in the next video, hopefully sooner than later. If you enjoyed the video, please give it a thumbs up. That helps me out tremendously. And please leave a comment in the comment section below. If you're looking for a way to help out the videos in any way, shape, or form, the videos help the most. It tells YouTube that it's good content and that people are enjoying it, and it will boost it, and it will show that it'll recommend the video to more people. So I appreciate it so much when you guys do that, and also consider subscribing if you want to see more videos like this. So until the next one, guys, I love you all, and I'll see you then. Peace.